We're here at the Junior Commodore Regatta, November 2020. Probably the biggest regatta we've been able to do since January. We talked about as a team this morning our goals. Our goals are making sure we start near the line every race. We've had some situations where kids from our club and other clubs are, especially when bucking the current, are really struggling with knowing where the line is. We have to learn how to use a pin line sight. The good thing about here is they might just use a pin-in boat, so we could use the line sight off them, and I'll teach you that if they're doing that. But starts is our big goal. We have a big regatta coming up in our future within the next 6 months, is my guess, nationals or something. And so we've got to practice at these smaller events. The current is going to be going across the course right to left until about 2 o'clock, 2:15. And so it's going to make the upwind legs longer. We talked about that. That means that if you're slow, you're pinching, you're going to lose more. And you've got to be patient on the long upwinds. That's how the current is going to affect that. It's going to affect the windward mark, and people are going to probably likely hit the windward mark. And in order to get around windward marks in a Sabot, you have to absolutely nail port tack close hauled, starboard tack close hauled. You have to know how to make the boat accelerate, get lift on the leeboard. You can't sit and pinch and try to make it squeeze around a mark. Sabots don't do that. Downwind, we're going to be crabbing left to right. We talked about that. The current's going to be moving us left to right. So that's going to affect the lay line for the leeward mark. Downwind, we got to look upwind more. We're not seeing the little pockets of wind where people are going fast. We're not seeing when people are getting on our wind as we get into leeward marks. We've got to look upwind. And then our last goal, again, as always, sail like we're in first place all the time. No matter what place we're in, we sail as if we're winning the race. What would we do if we're winning the race? Kind of cool. A lot of the kids came out, and I encourage this. You go around behind the committee boat on starboard tack every single day you race for the rest of your life and say good morning, and find the windward mark here, but say good morning. Kind of a make sure you never forget to check in deal. Okay, look at the starting line there. I would be coming around the committee boat saying good morning every single day I go sailing, and the first thing I would look at is what is the pin lined up with, because I need to know that whether the line is being changed, like after a general recall. I'll come back over here and check this. You see where it's lined up with, between the two tall trees. Okay, that's my exact line sight. The current is pushing me right to left a little too. So do you see that big tall tree just to the right of that catamaran? That's below the starting line. Let's keep watching here. Now I'm going to get into the buildings. Do you see the buildings on? No, those are more trees on the top of the hill. I'm going to wait till all these guys clear out. The current's going that way, towards that bridge over there. So you got to get a line sight. There's trees over there that are sticking up above all the others. What's that, Chris? Okay, here we go. I'm still behind the line. You got a bee in your boat? Nice work. Take care of nature. Be gentle. Okay, see me drifting? Now I'm getting off the big tree. That means I'm below the line. And I'm now using the trees up on the hill there. So these are the first things I do when I get out here. I'm only videoing starting stuff today. Nothing else. I'm going to check my line sight again. So what I'm doing now is what you should be doing, mixed in with little speed tests, mixed in with little bit of boat handling, just to kind of wake up. Here's the starting line here, and the actual line sight. This puts me just behind the line, right here, which is that ends further upwind?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I'm really glad I'm seeing all this. Here's Taylor sitting just behind the line, or he's actually further ahead than me, so he's just on the line right there. He's doing a time start with Matt. Okay, I am over right now. I know this is a long video, but do you see how the little bumps in the trees? Okay, the wind is lightened up here and the current is not moving me very. Okay, now I'm between the trees. I'm just below the line right there. Now I'm below the line. This is where I would start. Oh, wow, I am moving fast actually. Now I'm well below the line. I need to go back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bam. And that would have been safe. You have to practice this over and over and over, what I just did. A little countdown, reading the line sight. When the pin's favored is when we use the line sight the most. And some starts we don't use it at all because we can't see it. There's people blocking it. So look at this. This looks good. Taylor looks really good. Second A Fleet Regatta for Taylor today. Coming up on race 1 in about 15 minutes. Maddie trimmed a little tighter with the draft further out. The front of her sail is flatter than the front of Taylor's sail. It's just because she's trimming a little harder. That can work in this flat water. And then there's Max looking perfect. And he sails flatter than anybody. He actually is second in the last A Fleet Regatta, and he sails perfectly flat or heel to windward. It's not conventional, and we're trying to teach him how to shift gears from that a little in certain conditions, but he's got a good style that works in a Sabot. He keeps flow over the leeboard somehow, and that's usually skill. If you can point high and keep flow over your leeboard, then that's how you win in Sabots. Now, the last check I do is with less than 5 minutes to go before the warning, I come back here again and I check the line, and I am behind the line. If I was gonna race today, I would start right like this, lined up with that first clump of trees. That allows me to head up and hit the line full speed, close hauled. The actual line is right on the other tree, right there. So that puts my bow over by a tiny bit, but that's because I'm in a 13-foot boat, not an 8-foot boat. If I was in an 8-foot boat, I would definitely be over right now. I'm not. Okay, so the starting line is right there. I know you might be bored by now, but that's the line. And I would try to start lined up with that next clump right here is where I'd try to start. And again, we don't see the line sight for every start. If the pin is favored by a lot, we really can see it well. The boat's favored, really hard to see it because we have boats blocking us. Okay, getting ready for race 1. Conditions are 4 to 6 knots. Kind of good Sabot conditions, actually. Part of starting is your pre-race routine, and I really like what I saw. None of you guys were chillaxing. You know, in athletics, there's really no place for chillaxing completely because you do have to do your homework. So we just had the 3-minute signal, and I would first think about it's course 2. These will be the longest courses these guys sail in a Sabot. See the gates down there? This is twice around, I think. Course 2 is twice around, so the longest courses. So you pre-race routine, you have to think about the conditions. The conditions are 4 to 6 knots. Long race, that takes emphasis off the start. You do not have to win the start. The people that are fastest and smartest are going to win these races. The start plays very little role. You're going to see these fleets spread out quite a bit. 2 minutes to go. What I would be doing right now, or I would have done a little bit ago, is I'd have done one quick little starboard tack close hauled, probably right over here, just really quick, just to see if the wind is in a right phase or a left phase. Now with about 1:30, I scan the line. And what we see is everybody is at the boat end. You always do this, 1:30, 1 minute. You have to look around. You have to know who's around you. What do you think's gonna happen? And I would probably be planning right now to start about 1/3 of the way from the committee boat, because the committee boat end is going to be packed, it looks like. And Taylor knows the current's going out. And so he's the starter we have. Him and Chris tend to have the biggest guts of the pack. Taylor has huge guts, and you can see he's already drifted away from the committee boat end. I've talked to him a lot about being 1/3 of the way away from the favored end starter, and he just eats it up. He's just not going to be that boat barging up there.
Stop the sequence and reset.
Max right to windward of Anton. Then you got Asher. So some of the best sailors. This is Taylor's second regatta. He's right next to a guy that won nationals last year. Okay, no problem. He was a little off the line. That's not a problem. Again, the start is not crucial. And Taylor's doing a great job of pressing and getting out. Anton's, if you watch Anton, watch him. He doesn't panic. He's looking around, just making sure he knows what's going on. Small A fleet. Wow. Okay. Good luck, bro. B fleet start. This is our newest sailor, just moved from Seattle a few months ago, 8662, sailing a club boat, bucking the current. I'm sure he sailed out on the sound of Seattle and knows how to deal with current. That was a good move. Nice little dip start. Started right next to Maddie in 9157. So he's fine. He's a footer. Lure telltale's moving too much. Lure telltale's moving too much and he doesn't see it. That's okay. That's the way Offie sailors. He sailed Offies a lot. First time he's raced a Sabot, first time he sailed one was Wednesday. And Offie sailors are very, very consistent, meaning every time I coach one, a kid who learned in Offies, and then I coach them in a Sabot, they all have the same tendencies. They're not pinchers. They do things like this, holding the tiller extension straight up. They're very trained. A lot of repetition training in the Offie fleets. He roll tacks it like an Opti, and it works very well with little modifications. See that? He moves smoothly. Optis are on the rail almost all the time, even at really light air. So it's surprising he can move that smoothly, considering that's how we sail a Sabot. You got to be able to get in the boat and out of the boat. Opti sailors are often footers. They tack well. That was a good tack. I'm not supposed to be filming this. I'm only filming starts today. Here comes Taylor around in second. There we go. Maddie and, oh, Kevin. First regatta for Kevin. Just moved up from C1 in the red boat. Anyway, I got to stop filming the race. C1 fleet. The C2s and C3s are on the other Chicken Cove course. It's about 5-6 knots. Kind of the best wind of the day. So, but we still need to be set up for light air. So that's going to be leeboard forward. Chris there, 8-900, kind of one of our best holding position starters that we have. You can't quite see him, 8-900. Wow, 9162. He's a good sailor. There's some kids that are just born to be Sabot sailors, and that 9162, you can see it, man. He is not a pincher. We'll see how he does, but he is a pointer. Unfortunately, he's right on top of Chris. He is not a pointer, man. 9162 is a footer big time, and it pays off in a Sabot. Chris, nice work. 8,900. Almost won the last C1 regatta. Missed it by 5 points after 9 races. Half a point per race average. Here's Fenton, 10019. Trying to get Fenton just a foot more in general. Don't luff his sail at all upwind. He has a tendency to point too high when the boat loses speed. And trying to work with him on race a little less and speed a little more. You never want to tell a kid it's only about speed. You want them learning as much as they can about all this stuff. And he's been racing Sabots now for a year and a half, so now it's time to break the news to him. Don't race too hard against people. See, a little too tight on the main, but he's flying. A fleet's tough.